Welcome to our channel. Today, we dive into a high-stakes international showdown that stretches far beyond just cars and engines. In this video, we're unraveling Canada's bold move, a potential cutoff of vital electricity exports that could shake up the U.S. energy market and disrupt global trade connections. But that's not all! We'll dig into the chain reaction this could trigger, from oil exports to trade tariffs to intense political battles. How deeply are our economies tied together? What consequences could this power struggle unleash? Stick around as we decode every twist and turn of this electrifying face-off. Number 7. The shockwave, Canada's bold electricity cut threat. In a shocking twist, Canadian officials have issued a serious warning. They might slash or completely halt electricity exports to key U.S. states. Places like New York, Michigan, and Minnesota rely on Ontario for nearly 95% of their imported power. If Canada follows through, the impact could be severe. Skyrocketing energy costs, unstable power grids, and even blackouts during high-demand periods. Experts insist this isn't just an empty threat. It's a calculated move in response to U.S. tariffs, using energy as a powerful bargaining tool. This standoff exposes the fragility of a deeply connected energy system with shockwaves that could hit industries like manufacturing, tech, and beyond. As U.S. leaders scramble for backup plans, this bold tactic might rewrite energy policies and shake up trade talks between the two nations. Could this strategy redraw North America's energy map? Number 6. Crude control, oil as a political lever. While electricity grabs the headlines, Canadian oil exports remain a vital cog in the energy machine. The U.S. leans heavily on Canadian crude, with major pipelines like Keystone XL and Enbridge acting as lifelines for its supply. Recently, around 6.1 million barrels per day have been flowing in, with Canada supplying nearly 67%, all while U.S. tariffs continue to climb. Now, Canadian leaders are dropping hints about a possible oil export cut, a move that could send shockwaves through the market and cause oil prices to spike overnight. Even a brief slowdown could force industries to switch to costlier alternatives, driving up gas prices for commuters and disrupting industrial operations. This escalating trade chess game not only reveals how deeply North America's energy systems are intertwined, but also proves that even a minor shakeup in oil exports can ripple through global markets and reshape long-term policies. Number 5. Tariff turbulence, North American trade clashes. The intensifying trade battle between the U.S. and Canada has turned into a high-stakes showdown of tariffs, trade restrictions, and tit-for-tat policies, all driven by America First strategies aimed at boosting domestic production. The U.S. has slapped hefty tariffs on steel, aluminum, and various consumer goods, shaking up global trade dynamics. In response, Canada, a key supplier of energy, raw materials, and advanced technology, has fired back with potential export restrictions on oil, electricity, and rare earth metals. These moves have sent shockwaves through multiple industries, driving up costs, disrupting supply chains, and raising concerns over energy security and auto manufacturing stability. As market uncertainty grows and debates over economic independence heat up, one critical question emerges. Can North America find a balance between protectionism and global cooperation to create a stable, sustainable trade future? Before we dive deeper, hit that like button and subscribe. Number 4. Interwoven economies, the cross-border energy and material dance. Beneath the heated debates over tariffs and political maneuvering lies a deeply woven economic connection between the U.S. and Canada. American industries heavily depend on a constant flow of Canadian resources, from crude oil and natural gas to essential minerals like cobalt, nickel, and lithium, which power factories and drive key sectors such as automotive and aerospace. In 2024, U.S. energy imports from Canada skyrocketed into the billions, proving that even an economic giant like the U.S. cannot thrive on its own. But this tight interdependence is a double-edged sword. While it boosts production, it also exposes weaknesses when political tensions flare up. Any disruption could push up production costs, hike consumer prices, and weaken global competitiveness. This is why maintaining steady, open trade isn't just important. It's crucial for driving innovation, industrial expansion, and overall economic stability in our highly connected world. When trade flows, progress follows. Number 3, economic dominoes. How trade disruptions impact industries and consumers. Tariffs and trade disputes don't just impact corporate boardrooms. They send shockwaves through everyday life, affecting both consumers and industries. The US, which heavily depends on Canadian energy, from crude oil and natural gas to electricity, now faces potential supply disruptions, forcing industries to scramble for pricier alternatives. Even the smallest disruption can cause production slowdowns, skyrocketing operating costs, and higher prices across the board. This domino effect spreads through the entire economy, hitting sectors like automotive manufacturing and essential services. When a single component is delayed or costs more, it drives up fuel prices and inflates the cost of everyday products for consumers. At its core, every tariff introduced is like throwing a wrench into the economic engine, bringing us one step closer to inflation and an economic slowdown. Number 2, diplomatic drifts, the strategic game of trade. Trade is a high-stakes global chess game, and the US and Canada are making bold strategic moves to protect their national interests. While US policies focus on boosting domestic production, they clash with North America's deeply connected economy. In response, Canadian leaders are flexing their influence, using their crucial role as major energy and raw material suppliers to push back. Their countermeasures, including potential electricity export cuts and discussions on oil restrictions, are designed to apply pressure on US policymakers, challenging the American energy grid and forcing a reevaluation of protectionist strategies. But the impact goes far beyond economics. These power plays influence border security, tech investments, and government contracts. Meanwhile, other nations like Mexico are watching closely, ready to adjust their own strategies. Ultimately, every diplomatic move carries both risks and rewards, shaping the future of global trade and security. In today's interconnected world, this escalating rivalry is not just a regional standoff, it's reshaping global power dynamics. Number 1, pricing and policy, impacting your wallet and the future. After breaking down energy exports, tariffs, and political maneuvers, let's now examine how all of this impacts your wallet. When established trade flows are disrupted, prices can spike instantly. For example, if Canada cuts electricity exports, American homes and businesses could see huge energy bill increases, especially during peak demand. Similarly, since Canadian crude is essential to US oil imports, any restrictions could send gasoline prices soaring, affecting transportation, manufacturing, and even everyday goods. On top of that, tariffs on raw materials and consumer products add another layer of cost pressure, potentially driving up vehicle prices and overall living expenses. Now, policymakers face a tricky balancing act. They must protect domestic jobs while navigating the reality of a deeply connected global economy. In the end, these shifts in prices and policies don't just shape short-term spending, they influence long-term economic stability and future growth. Final lap, navigating the energy trade frontier. To wrap things up, we've traveled through a high-stakes showdown, from Canada's bold threat to cut electricity exports to the ripple effects hitting your wallet. Along the way, we've uncovered how energy reliance, economic chain reactions, and strategic political moves are reshaping US-Canada trade relations. The impact is game-changing, and the road ahead is bound to be as fast-moving as the engines we admire. What do you think? How might these trade tensions affect the automotive world and your daily expenses? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.